Hey everybody, Jo here. How you doing? I hope you're doing okay. I hope you slept well. You know, it's always good if you get a good night's sleep. But I know a few of you struggle, and if you're in pain, and often the weather doesn't help, it can be too hot, too cold. And you know, sometimes that bed is just not comfy. And yet other times it's lovely. So if you've had a bit of a difficult night, or you're having a difficult night and you're not sleeping, because I know some of you do like to listen at night, let's just wind it down, relax, spend a little bit of time together, and just have some fun. But also, I've got a special friend who's got a birthday coming up very soon, and I wanted to make her a card design. And this is what I'm going to make. Now, I hope you like it. And what I'm thinking with this is you can alter those colour tones. I'm using the beautiful sunflower heads. Now, I know orange is my favourite colour, but I know it's not everybody's. But this you could easily do in the oranges, or I've gone for blue tones. But you know what? You could batch card make this. Now, there will be a bit of glare because, as you can tell, I've done my wink of colouring and we've got that beautiful wink of Stella shimmer. It's not easy to say that wink of Stella shimmer. I had to get my head round having two S's in the sentence. But I think you could make this with various colour tones. So plump up your cushions, or if you're sat up in bed, have you got a nice cup of tea? Do you know, I'm into decaf tea at the minute, and I love a cup of decaf tea in bed. I've got to be honest, maybe a cheeky biscuit. We have special biscuits that we call Sunday morning biscuits, and it's a big treat on a Sunday if I'm not working, especially if the grandchildren are here and we sit up in Grandma and Grandad's bed. We have a cup of tea and a Sunday morning biscuit, and the boys have a glass of milk and a Sunday morning biscuit. There you go. See, now you know. Eric, bless him, just does his breakfast. So I'm going to start with this. And we're going to use, this is multifarious card, and it's a 5.5 inch square. And what I'm going to do first is put my lovely Lavinia low tack masking tape. And the reason I've gone for this size, look, is if I put this on my craft mat and count up, look, it just happens there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares there. Do you know, as if by magic. So I know my tape, if I put it in the 4th square there, I've got 3 squares above, 3 squares below. I know that's in the middle. You see, I don't have to do any thinking at all because my craft mat does it for me. And then I'm going to come in with the circle mask, and this is the largest one, and mine's just got Posca. That's just dried Posca, so I can find it easier. And I'm going to put that sort of in the middle. Mermaid. Now, depending what colour tones you're going for, depends what colour of ink you go for. And as always, I'm just going to blend in the lid, and I just want to give me that sort of beautiful shape. And again, it's a good way of practicing your blending. And the edge doesn't have to be perfect. And then just move it round. We'll come down this side. A little tip, if you alternate the sides where you first come on with your ink, well then you'll get a nice even coverage. We're stamping over this, so don't worry. We just want a nice even, that sort of shape. But what we're actually going to do is with the ink that's left on my brush, I'm just going to fill that space. So if you look at the finished design, we've got a light colour here. So it's darker under the wreath, but lighter here. And I just love that contrast. You could leave this white, but I was going for a different take this time. I made a Christmas design quite a few years ago, if you look back on Lavinia, but I left that white. So I just felt for this I wanted to have a slightly different take on it. And again, it's a good way of just cleaning your brush. Pop the lid on. And now to the stamping. And as I say, we're going to use the sunflower heads. And we're going to use Twilight because it's a lovely dark blue colour. And as I say, I'm going for all the blue tones. And what I'm going to do first is with the largest of the sunflower heads. Just going to ink up and I'm going to stamp it sort of in the middle. And I sort of use this line as a guide, but as I say, it's just a guide. Don't worry yourself. We're just going sort of. No pressure here. Now, we're going to put the 3, and your instinct might be to do the middle one next. But my advice would be to actually do it the other way. Take the smaller of the sunflower heads and stamp that. I've just caught the paper there, but that's fine. And we're just going to stamp that at each side. The reason I'm doing this is for me it's easier then to stamp in the middle. I just find it's better to stamp in that gap than come back and alternate this. If you're not sure what I mean, have a go. It's just for me, it works easier this way. But we're all different. So now when I come in with the middle one, look, I can just come in and decide I want it there. And I just find for me, this works well. But like I say, you'll get your own system. And that's what's good about crafting. Sometimes you get your own system and don't even realise you're doing it. And again, it's a handmade design, but also these are florals. Nature, you know, nature has a way of, things don't necessarily have to be even, do they, in nature? I mean, I've got plants where the leaves look and flowers look completely different than each other. So that's what we've got so far. But I want to add a little bit more to this. So I've gone for a lovely stamp set called the Foliage set. And I use this a lot. These 2 are lovely little stamps. So just need to take one of these off my little block. And for this one, I'm going to come in with Paradise. I wanted a lighter colour, but still want it to show blue. And a little tip, I just want to check you can see my ink pad. If I ink this up on the corner, look, and stamp it, I can miss the stalk off, that little stem. And I just find it easier, look, when I want to stamp the flowers. Now, I could wipe the stem, but for me, when I'm doing something like this, it's just easier to just ink up in that corner. And I'm just going to go round and just add some lovely flowers. Now, if you look, you've got so many of the mini stamps or stamps in the sets where you can just add. Have a look what you've got, because we've got so many that work so well with this type of design. And I'm just adding a little bit more, look, in between the sunflowers in the middle. And then I'll just have a look. Yeah, happy with that. Now, again, it might be you want to leave it at this stage. But I'm just going to add one more, and it's on the same stamp set, and it's more the spikier one. So I'm going lighter again, and this time Arctic, this lovely light blue. And I just want to get a bit of, and again, I'm going in the corner, look, a bit more depth, a bit more width with this design. So wherever I fancy, just on the outside, look, just work my way round, and we'll just add. And again, in that corner, I think we'll put a couple at the top. It sort of elongates and gets that nice shape. I always say I think I'm a bit of a frustrated flower arranger. I love sort of pretending I'm doing a flower arrangement when I do this. Either that or working at the post office, you know, when they used to stamp like that. Right, I think we might stop there. Let's have a look. Yes, very pretty. Now, you could leave it like this, but I'm just going to introduce a little bit of colour. Now, these are the Mondeluz pencils, and I've gone for 15, 17 and 18. And as always, it's up to you. It might be you like it like this and want to leave it. Piece of kitchen roll just. And all I'm going to do is the centre. And this is the bit where, if you fancy having an afternoon colouring, you could stamp up this design 3 or 4 times. And again, I often find batch card making, if you're stamping one, it's nice to stamp a few. But then you could have an afternoon colouring. Or, as we were saying yesterday, if you were going to the caravan or you were going to look after your grandchildren for a while, this would be a lovely thing to take with you and just do the actual colouring. Now, I've used the lighter colour for the centre of each of the sunflowers, and then I'm just going to go around with my darker colour and just add a little bit in the centre here. The bit where the petals come out, the centre of the petals, not the centre of the sunflower. Now again, you can spend a lovely time just colouring. I'm just showing you almost the speedy version. And look, I turn my work round. Again, try and get in the habit of leaning on your kitchen roll. And as we're talking and I'm just colouring, it's a good time for me to just check in and see how you are. So I hope you're doing okay. I hope things are going well. Nice to just pop in and check how things are going. Eric's been to the vets for his kennel cough, bless him. He's doing well. He's nearly 11. In fact, I think he might be 11 next week, which is amazing. Especially when he started with his arthritis at 5, and they told us that it was such an extent that really his life expectancy would only be a couple of years. So lots of physio and massaging and the hot water bottle of a night. And in summer, a little tip, you know, and again, it was only Katie, the physio, pointed it out, and I should have known. But often we don't see the obvious, do we? To take the fur cover off the hot water bottle, fill it with cold water, and then just not put it in the fridge because that makes it too cold when it's going next to his skin, but just to put it on his back. And apparently the cold of that works as well as the hot. So that's good in summer. So I've been doing that, and he does enjoy it, and then just massaging his back. So while we're catching up, look, I'm just taking my mid colour and I'm filling in. Now, you know me, I don't have to go right to the edge because I'm going to use my Wink of Stella pen, and that will blend those colours beautifully. But look already how it's starting to look lovely, that depth of colour. Now, if you enjoy your fussy cutting, these will be lovely to decoupage. But again, I know there are quite a few of you. I love it in workshops. I have a couple of ladies, as soon as I mention we're going to fussy cut, they look at me with that look. But I'm very good. If anybody can't fussy cut, I always fussy cut the components out for them. I am going to add the butterflies on here, but I've already got them cut out, so you don't have to worry. So again, just going round. And then, as always, clear Wink of Stella. And the way I would approach this is the lighter colour in the centre. Look, I just quickly whiz round, fill that in, because that's the lightest. And I will get a little bit of light blue, but I'm happy with that. And then on the flowers, so if we maybe take the big one first, and I can just show you. If I come in now, and look, that little bit of blue, and I'm just going in and out, and it drags that lovely dark blue along the edge, and it fills in, so it saved me time, and it drags that colour. And also I always think my pencils will last longer, but look at that now, how that larger one. So all I'm going to do is go round and then just blend that colour out on all those lovely petals, but also I'm adding that beautiful sparkle, and it almost adds depth. And what's nice is to colour one side like this. Now, if you don't have the clear Wink of Stella, obviously you can just use water, use your water brush, or just go over with a white and blend the colours that way. You don't have to add water to them. Obviously I just like it because I get the sparkle as well. But for me, if I can show you the difference, if we hold it this way, And I'm hoping you can see the difference of one side that's been coloured and the side that hasn't. So again, we'll do a speedy. But it is so relaxing, you know. And I just find it's like glittery magic. But it just makes me look like I can colour. But like I say, if you want to spend a lovely afternoon spending time colouring, it is relaxing, and you do that. But definitely it would make it accessible that it could be batch card made. And like I say, I'm thinking of all those different colour tones, and I hope you share. I can't wait to see what your favourite colour is. I mean, I think, you know, if you did them in red, bright red, a bit like, is it a gerbera, or are they orange? Anyway, I'm just thinking of all the different flowers you could do. But look at that. So, a couple of little highlights. Now again, this will be better when the Wink of Stella is dry. But we'll just add a couple. So just a couple, just on here. And then the odd one on the petal. So often what I do is if I'm making a video, I add these now just to show you where I'd add them. But when the Wink of Stella's dry, I just come back over, because they will show up better when it's dry. But it's important I just show you. So I'd add them in that sort of top right hand corner look. And then I want to add some lovely Posca splats and our butterflies, but I'm going to take the tape off. Now it might be, if you want to add it before you take the tape off, that's fine. And a little tip with the tape, mine will come off beautifully, but if you're worried, pop your heat tool on it, and your heat tool will just help it come off like butter. But look at that, mine comes off beautifully. Now I'm going to stamp the sentiments, and this is from the Heartfelt verses, and I've gone for birthday wishes. And I'm going to use the same 3 colours. So we'll come in with Arctic first and ink up the whole stamp. And then I'm going to come in with the Paradise and ink up sort of halfway-ish. And then with the darker, the Twilight, I just want to catch the bottom. And if I just use the edge of my... So I was just using this edge, look, and catching it with this top edge. And then let's see... if I just lean over and pop it in the middle. There we go, birthday wishes, and we've got it in the 3 different colours. So what I will do, we want a couple of butterflies on here. So I'm going to add one up here. And because we're going to decoupage it, it's nice to pop it over the flower. And then one, just caught a bit of ink on the block. Down here, and again I can catch it over the butterfly, over the flower. And to colour them, I'll very quickly show you, but you know this, we've done it so many times. Same 3 colours, darker colour in the middle, a little bit of the lighter colour, and I just go over that darker colour, look, and then the lightest just to blend in, but I don't go right to the edge, because that clear Wink of Stella, start at the edge and blend that light blue to the edges, and then I can come in and pick up that darker colour and blend that as far as I want. Clean my brush, important to clean your brush, it cleans back to get rid of that blue off the end, and it will go clear. But look at that, if you add a little bit of your white highlight, then that butterfly is beautiful. I have got a couple cut out ready. So we'll move this out of the way. And now it's just those lovely little finishing touches. So I'm going to come in with my Mangaka Zig, the white pen. Now I've got to watch the nib on mine, it keeps moving. I'm sure it's going to pop out. But just before we do that, you see I'm getting carried away with myself. I've not put my butterflies on. Little tip, and I mentioned this the other day, when I'm adding my butterflies, I don't add glue on the back. Oh look, I think that was a stamping that I didn't like and I've used the back of it. Well, we're crafters, aren't we? I put my glue, my lovely bippity boppity glue, on the actual butterfly look. The one I've stamped, and then do it this way. I find if I put it on here, oh look, more rogue stamping. Don't throw anything away. If I was to drop it, then I'd get glue where I didn't want it. So for me, it's just doing it this way. But your hands might behave, so you might be fine doing it that way. A couple of little highlights, one on there. Check I haven't moved it. One on there. And then now I can get to my white splats. If you don't like white splats, leave them off. I mean, I just love them, but look, that nib. Go back in. Thank you. Lovely. And I just think it shows up beautifully. Now, it might be, if you're not keen on the white splats, do you know what would look lovely? The yellow sparkle. I think that would really add a bit of oomph. But I just wanted to keep this with the blue and the white. So I'll give that a wipe. But I might just try one, I'm thinking, with the reds and oranges. And then I could use my yellow sparkle Posca. So that's the design finished. And I think you could happily sit and colour quite a few of these. And again, I think it's a design that will be beautiful for many different occasions. Like I say, a birthday card for a special friend, or it would be a nice get well card. Or I'm thinking if you had a wedding, you could make this into a wedding card. If you know the flowers that the bride's holding and the colours of the bridesmaid dresses, that would be beautiful. Or first anniversary, and put a couple of hearts in the middle. You see, I know you clever lot. Already you're shouting lots of ideas to me. So thank you for that. And thanks for spending time with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope if you're in bed, you're ready now just to close your eyes, relax, and just drift off to the most wonderful sleep. So that when you wake up, you'll be lovely and refreshed to face another day, a day full of wonderful possibilities. So I'll catch you again soon. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.